So key considerations to take back to your team. We're kind of coming to the end here. Craig, I don't know if you want to take this and bring us home.
Yeah, I just, to summarize really everything we've covered today, it's just about how can we utilize our resources in the best way? How can we maintain a secure process throughout? And how can we, dissuade the naysayers about the data center industry, right? A part of this is, reuse. And so DMD as the reuse first ITAD, we've been doing this for 30 years. It's about trying to find the next best use for every individual piece of hardware. And sometimes that's within its own environment. And sometimes it means, selling that or getting it into the hands of somebody who can take advantage of it. But to accomplish that, it has to be secure. And so, reuse is by far the most sustainable choice, but only if it is matched with a program that meets the governance requirements of a business. So being able to provide data, provide the reports, and I use the term zero trust, and it's not exactly zero trust, but it's about quantifying the success of the program through data, not just, hey, we sold this for $80, here's your $80. It's like, rather than just providing the money, it's saying, hey, we sold it to this buyer for this much because it was in this condition. Here's the report that details that. Plus, based on our agreement, here's your share of it, right? It's quantifying what needs to be quantified for the largest organizations to interpret and ingest that data and then determine the success of it on their own. And so, I've said for a long time, and I've been a reuse first kind of guy for longer than I've worked at DMD. It's just about, if we're going to try to deliver this ethos to our clients, we've got to make everything else as good as possible to build around it. That means the most secure. It means secure not just to base level compliance, but to your organizational governance. It means, providing the data, providing the reporting, and then making it as easy as possible to ingest that reporting. And that's, again, where that ITSM integration comes in, the fully centralized platform for the global ecosystem. And then all of that is just I would say all of that is the keystone of a successful national or international ITAD program.
Yeah, kind of on that note, Craig, I think what you're really tapping into is how can organizations really level set and figure out the maturity of their ITAD program, right? Before we can help them build the program, they have to really understand where they are. I think this diagram is a pretty good indicator of that if you want to kind of spend a few minutes on this one.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. This is my soapbox slide here. This is the one that heats me up. If you look just left to right, I hope that most companies either fall into the yellow or the green column. But, for better or for worse, I talk with either people or small companies from time to time that they don't really put any thought into what they're doing with their equipment. 10 years ago when I was a kid and I was doing this, I just factory reset my computer and toss it. I had no idea. And since then, I'm proud to say I've come a long way. But if you're just non-certified wasting your equipment, not only is it a huge security risk, it's also just terrible for the environment. There's no reclamation of resources, value, anything. Don't do that. Don't do non-certified waste. And of course, non-certified e-waste, it's hard to say that it's better because it technically is, but not really. There's a lot of local recyclers that will accept your e-waste and that they say they handle e-waste all the time, and they're making money on it, but they may not be providing certified data destruction reports. They're certainly not providing certified recycling. They don't have anything like an e-stewards or an R2v3 informing the downstream, what it looks like downstream for this equipment. Where I think we probably find most companies before we start working with them is in the certified e-waste recycler column, where they may be getting some value from whoever's recycling their hardware, but they're shredding every hard drive and they're just totally dismantling and recycling all of their equipment. And it's certified. It has an R2v3 or an e-stewards certification. Maybe they've got some ISOs. Maybe there's some other certifications that make a difference. But really, there's no reuse in it at all. It's just total material breakdown. And when you recycle, you feel good about it because it's recycling.
Yeah.
I'm recycling these materials back into the ecosystem. But you're losing all of the water and the energy and a lot of the materials that go into the manufacture of these devices, but that are like waste materials. It's like the things that you're cutting out of in a PCB, for example. And so the only truly, in my opinion, good way of repurposing and end of life is a certified reuse first program, where repurposing hardware allows you to reclaim the value of the equipment through the financial value, but also the materials, the energy, the water, the resources that go into that manufacture by extending its life cycle. I mean, really what this means is by repurposing one laptop, that's one less laptop you have to manufacture, or you're delaying the manufacture of that laptop for 2 years because you're using this one for another 2 years. Backing that with certified data destruction, accurate reporting, financial reporting, sustainability reporting. I mean, it's really the best way, and it's through that we found success for some of the world's largest organizations, including, we ran a program this year for a client that was something like 22,000 servers across 3 sites. I think we resold like 300,000 sticks of RAM out of that program in Q1 alone. And they succeeded because they relied on us for all 3 sites. It was a fully centralized process that we'd planned in advance with terms understood at the point. So when they were ready to go, we were ready to go. It was there, it was ready, we had planned for it, and we're still working through some of it. But like, by leveraging our capabilities in advance, they were able to save cost, improve recovery value, get incredible environmental reporting, and all centralized directly into their ITSM platform. It was a massive success story. And it's because of successes like that that we continue to be featured in the Gartner Market Guide for ITAD. If you really look at how Gartner defines success in an ITAD program, it's about that reuse first. It's the most preferred way to handle it. And we're the only certified B Corporation on the list of ITAD providers. And what that means is we have a fiduciary and a legal responsibility to balance both profit as a for-profit company, but our environmental and our community impact. And I take a lot of pride in being a B Corporation at DMD. It's one of the reasons I wanted to work for the company that I mentioned earlier. But if it's good enough for Gartner, it's good enough for the world, in my opinion.